This wonderful quilt show was put together by the ladies from the Thistle Quilt Guild. We have about 80 members from around Pictou County. We meet at the Westville Recreation Center on the Drummond Road to have our monthly meetings, sew, and share knowledge of quilting and friendship. This is our 16th year of quilting. The show has been located at the Westville Civic Center Gymnasium for 6 years. It is a bright, open place to show off our creative work and easily accessible for most people. It also provides us with a lovely spot to serve tea to our patrons and a stage for several vendors to sell those all-important quilting gadgets and fabric. A member will sell you a ticket to enter the display of our creative endeavors. $5 buys you entry, a cup of tea, and some sweets. You see a reminder to not touch the quilts, unless you are wearing the gloves that are provided for that purpose. We don't want any grubby bits added to the quilts, and it works best to ask everyone to comply with our sanitation request. To the left of the entry, you will see our beautiful raffle quilt. It is a Flying 4 patch, thus the name of the show. Our members pitched in to put it together and are selling tickets for $1 each. Some very lucky person will own this quilt. We make quilts of many sizes. Now we are going to look at the large quilts. Here we see a block of the month, made in honor of Canada's 150th birthday, and a through-the-window quilt showing pretty blossoms. Next in line is a colorful magic tile quilt. Note the strategically placed tables, chairs, and flower arrangements covering the bases for the quilt rack so we don't trip over them. We are coming into fall colors with these pretty birds, and next is a Henrietta Whiskers hanging. Diane Gordon's sense of humor shows up in her quilt, which is parking only. All others will be towed. More fall colors abound in the Pretty Lover's Knot quilt next on our tour. This pretty starry hanging was made by Sheila Monroe in a round robin exchange. 4 ladies each made a part, passed it on to the next in line who added another part. It makes its way back to the initiator who finishes the quilt. Baby quilts are a popular item, and you can see an animal theme present in these cute quilts for little ones. Carol Jackson has little ladies and cats tripping the light fantastic in the rain in her quilt, Umbrella Ladies. A crazy quilt shows off a multitude of colors and shapes in its beautiful flurry of randomness. That's the point of a crazy quilt. We have octagons and stars, then a quilt made from fabric with large patterns, and Maddie taught a class on using large patterned fabrics in quilts. Glorious stars sprinkle the quilt in the center here, bordered on either side by crazy quilts. As we turn the corner, we see a sampler quilt made by Kate Anderson. It was last year's Block of the Month quilt, designed by Barbara Brackman and called Westering Women. Snuggled up to it is Wilma Jenkins' variation on a 9-patch, also in cool tones. The next quilt warms up the tones with a crazy quilt in complementary colors of lime greens and golds. The paper hand pinned on the green, blue, and neutral quilt indicates that it was hand quilted. Isabel Mason is going to be sleeping under the stars with this lovely quilt. Seashells and starfish adorn this beach-themed quilt by Ellen Peters. Panels can be made into very pretty quilts, as we see here with the picnic scene bordered in bright yellow. A bear at the beach? Not quite who we expect to see sunbathing. Carol Jackson has a good imagination. To the left you see a lover's knot quilt made by Rebecca McCallum with intergalactic themed fabrics. Bows and stars come next. Then, blue jeans and hockey, a great combination for a boy, and that is what Corinne McDonald was thinking when she made this quilt for her grandson. All inked up is the name of Margot Fleury's batik quilt made with white sashing. The Irish chain in red, white, and blue is Carol McNeil's creation. The pretty sampler with the green sashing was worked on as a Block of the Month quilt several years ago. Quilters often start a project, leave it for a while, and then come back to it and finish it in a year or two. Diane Gordon made a disappearing pinwheel instead of a disappearing 9-patch. Up next is Alice West Weathervane. An appliqued floral border decorates Linda Crosby's pinwheel quilt. Take 84 designers, 2 coordinators, and 100 blocks later, you have the splendid sampler. This is Sheila Monroe's version of it. Through the window, we can see deer peeking at us. Many of us can see them in our own backyards. Little houses are bordered by flying geese. Very nicely done. A variation on a split-rail fence is bright in red, cream, and black. A Monet-style Impressionist quilt is the handiwork of Rebecca McCallum, and A is for your favorite sports team. Jocelyn McDonnell found this quilt with a really cute way to use up scraps. Tucked into the corner by Alice West Rising Star is a queen-size quilt made of batiks by Joan Waters. Geese are flying in a circle beside a disappearing 9-patch from Kim Bland's needles. The beautiful Lover's Knot in yellow, cream, and navy and the stars are Mila McDonald's handiwork. And Maddie is responsible for the Shadowbox quilt made with vintage-style fabrics. 2 more Western women's samplers were completed and are displayed for our pleasure. Batik fabric in bright colors catch the eye in Linda Crosby's Isn't It Rich quilt. Linda is also responsible for this quilt reminiscent of numerous film strips, each one pieced very carefully. Centered here is Deborah Battis quilt variations in warm fall colors. Moving right along, we have a very colorful variation of a log cabin. Next up, pink, blue, and neutrals make for a pretty Lover's Knot quilt by Mary Jean Campbell. A king-size log cabin style has a variation on the pattern that adds interest and some sweet panels for corner decoration. This is a creative work of Carol McNeil, who was trying out some newly learned quilt design skills. Our next beauty is a sampler by Mary Wadden. The lovely piecing of this Craftsy Block of the Month offering was done by Claudette Campbell, and the next one is a gorgeous applique block in a Baltimore style. Now on to the small but mighty. Pin cushions are a popular item. We've had several workshops on creating landscapes from scraps. The ladies have taken the training to heart. Oven mitts, pillows, and stuffed toys are popular craft items. Wallets and change purses find their way out of our sewing rooms. A quilted case for sewing needles was one of our projects. Jocelyn McDonnell showed us how to stitch accurate circles with decorative stitches. Wilma Jenkins turned it into a work of art. We have small hangings that are displayed on wrought iron stands, cloth bowls for safe handling of glass bowls fresh from the microwave, mug mats, pot holders, and bibs. Wall hangings and runners enable us to indulge our creative urges without the commitment of a full-sized quilt. They are also great ways to use up scraps. Displayed on racks around the room are table toppers, piece tablecloths, and lap quilts meant for keeping us warm on cold winter nights. Several ladies made fancy mats to put under their sewing machines. They hang over the edge of the sewing table and have pockets for tools. This geometric design is called Convergence, and it's by a man named Ricky Timms. Christmas wins as the most popular holiday among our quilters. Some of our guild members use embroidery machines to make interesting designs on their quilts. They also come up with some interesting variations on old patterns. This one looks like a log cabin combined with a crazy quilt. Ellen Peters made this colorful quilt of batiks. Not quite a Christmas quilt, but nestled up against them nonetheless. The Christmassy-looking star quilt was pieced by Deborah Battis. We have some beautiful Christmas wall hangings on display, and a very nice Christmas tree sporting decorations made by our members. We have some sweet quilts that could either be used to wrap up in before a fire on Christmas Eve or hung from the walls for decoration. There are even pillowcases on which to lay your head over the Christmas holidays. We've had several postcard exchanges. In this one we made Christmas postcards and exchanged them among ourselves. The cards have stiffening in them, so they really can be mailed. Snowmen go with Christmas, and there are several hangings to show them off to advantage. We have a baby quilt that wraps into a carrier cover. That would make a lovely Christmas gift. Norma Vaquera taught lessons in a workshop on designing quilts, and her hanging with stars on the corners is one of the examples she used for teaching. There are so many beautiful decorations to look at. We know our members' homes will be welcoming this Noel. Bags are a favorite project for our quilters. They make great gifts. First up is one made with screen material. The same screen as is on your windows, and it's wickedly hard on needles. It makes a great beach bag because the sand falls through it. There are bags of numerous patterns, and not all are made of cotton. Quilters do tend to prefer cotton. The bags surround this beautiful poppy tablecloth made from a kitty cat creations kit. Big bags can be for travel or baby minding, and small ones are for holding all sorts of things that need organizing. We see them stacked high as we look down the hall. As we round the corner, we also see an extraordinary circular wall hanging by Kate Anderson. We are moving into the items for the brown bag challenge. 3 bits of fabric were put into a brown bag and exchanged with another member who could add another bit of fabric and make something. Then the bags were given back. It was fun for all. You can see our ladies have a sense of humor, and I love what they do. It is not always easy to make something from another person's choice of fabrics. We have some very creative members. You have likely noticed a few bags in the mix in this display. They are very popular. And Maddie taught a workshop on the log cabin pattern. This pattern has been around a long time and is a favorite among quilters. There are a number of variations for it. It can be made into small pieces. Gloria made miniatures no more than 2 inches square. It is also beautiful as full quilts. Here we have wall hangings on display. Joanne Swanson taught a workshop for us on making floral circles. As you can see by the number of pieces on display, it was a hugely popular workshop. Our members make beautiful wall hangings as home decor art pieces. You have a good view of the hall and the pretty paper-pieced butterflies on the quilt rack. Turn the corner and you see Kate Anderson's paper-pieced cranes taking flight. These beautiful paper-pieced hangings were made from a Karen Neary pattern by Gloria Turnbull and Ann Maddie. We celebrate seasons, and there are pillows in the mix too. We love our feline companions who often lend a bit of fuzzy decoration to our labors. Oven mitts are lovingly decorated for kitchen labors. As you walk around the room, note the decorative elements for display purposes that serve a dual purpose. They cover the supports for the racks so people don't trip over them. These fabric microwave bowl holders are to keep you from burning your fingers. And we turn the corner again. Members donate quilting magazines and books that are sold for a very low price. There are lots of good ideas in them. Some antique buttons even made it into the mix. The gymnasium stage houses our vendors, so you can load up on supplies to help make next year's show a success. Center stage houses a display of our large quilt workshop and a variety of small pieces. Janice Dion taught a workshop on a quilt called the Arrowhead. Deborah Battis made hers to fit properly over the lap of someone in a wheelchair.
Interspersed with the quilts, you will see other items such as pretty runners. Now we will backtrack and focus on the items on the tables in front of the stage. There are several baby quilts on the first table. A workshop on a method of weaving two fabrics together to create another was taught by Wilma Jenkins. Quite a number of the pieces were made into pillows. The flowers in this part of the display are made from a paper piecing workshop taught by Kate Anderson. Norma McCara taught a number of our members some basic techniques for designing their own quilts. Some made pillows and runners or wall hangings, and a few even attempted full-size quilts. You will see runners and wall hangings and even several holders for cutting mats. And Maddie demoed one of those at a meeting, and several ladies liked them so much that they made them. Our members are a giving lot. They made pillows for the residents of Ivy's Terrace Nursing Home in Trenton and presented them at a little tea for the residents. Pillows are a favorite subject for our stitching. Jocelyn McDonnell showed us how to make flying geese look like they're really flying, so some black ones took off on a blue and red pillow. Sheila Monroe has taught several workshops on curved piecing. A lot of our members have taken the training to heart and created many beautiful fabric scenes. Some are framed with wood or metal, and others are stitched to batting and framed with fabric. You will see table toppers and many other small items in this display. Members make fabric postcards that are stiffened enough to mail. They are sent on exchanges with other guilds, and sometimes to friends who aren't part of an official exchange. Kate Anderson made some very interesting and pretty paper-pieced placemats. You will see another pretty runner at this end of the stage. It matches the runners at the other end. We will stop at the tea room for a rest and a bit of refreshment. These cute little pin cushions adorn the tables. You get a cup of tea and a sweet served by our gracious members. The ladies have decorated the room with quilted items. Alice West has been teaching some of them how to do Swedish weaving. You can see that she's been a very good teacher. The room is ready to welcome our visitors. Jewel Dorrington is in charge and doing a final inspection. It is always nice to get a bird's eye view of an event, and from the stage is the closest that we can come to that. It is inspiring to look at so much of the work that we've accomplished over the year. We hope you have enjoyed our show. We don't have judges inspecting our work. We do ask our visitors to fill in a ballot to indicate their favorite. Sheila Monroe won that honor for her splendid sampler. Here you see Sheila posing with her winner. Our members and vendors contribute door prizes for our visitors. Thank you for watching. Come see us on location in May 2019.